Hi everybody, greetings and welcome to this special edition of Thoughts from Thoth Thursday. And the reason it's a special edition is because I am going to do an unboxing of the fairly brand new Millenium Thoth Deck. And as you may be able to tell from that card on the cover there, the Millenium Thoth Deck is actually a real new or revitalized, re-realized version of the standard Aleister Crowley weight deck. I don't know if you can see that well here with all the light. So I have decided to do an unboxing and comparison to that, since I use the Crowley Thoth deck weekly and get some good notices from people that I show to. So here we go, general thoughts. And I always believe in dressing up for the occasion, so I put on my occult cape. Yes, there we go. Alrighty, so the Millenium Thoth is a low-scarable deck. And it comes, like some of them do, in a beautiful box. It brings to mind the Santa Muerte tarot from a few years ago. The really nice box. It opens nicely. The cards go into that little area there. So it's very nice, very pretty. Just going to put that aside for the moment. And of course, there are the standard, extra cards that sort of are just extra cards with either the name on it or other ads or information. So the nice thing is, like the Santa Muerte Tarot, it also comes with this nice little booklet, the Millenium Thoth. And herein I will have to bring out the point that the book is actually written by Jamie Alford. The artwork, although it is very good re-representation of Crowley, is actually by the artist Renata Lechner, who also came up with this concept of doing it. So having said that, I should say that the meanings in the Thoth deck do not exactly go along with the meanings of the Crowley deck. And I realize that readers, being readers, they may decide to learn the subtle nuances, or they may decide to use it the way they might use any tarot. I'm a little bit of both. Some tarots I decide I want to learn that nuance. Some I go with what I know the best. So this may present a little bit of a puzzle for me, since I'm using it weekly now for the Thoth poll, Thoughts from Thoth. But at any rate, let's go on. I don't want to take too long here. So we're going to go ahead and flip the camera over for our closest view. And I'm just going to go through all of these cards and show them. So here we have the Crowley Fool. And now we have the Millenium Thoth version. All right, so we can look at those for a moment. Some of the symbology is the same or enhanced. We see the tiger or wild cat there, and we see some of the other symbology, the fires in his left hand, the other element in his right hand, the horns on the head, things like that, the green outfit, the sun symbol that's over the groin area. Okay, so then here's the first major deviation or thing of notice, which is that in the original Thoth deck by Crowley, there are actually 3 different magicians. There's one called the Magus. There is one called the Magician. Has some sort of Greco-Roman ideas there, Egyptian possibly. This one's actually more Greco-Roman, I suppose. And then there's another Magus. And the idea in most of the text I've read about those is the idea that you could pick any of these to be, you know, that card in there. So in the Millennium, there is only one Magician card, number 1, Major Arcana, the Magus. And so it looks like that one there. So I thought that's interesting, but a lot of the other symbology is the same. So once you get past that, though, of course, then things kind of move along more differently. So I'm going to move this so we get a better view here. Okay, Crowley's the Priestess. The Thoth Deck's the Millennium's High Priestess. Note all the shadowy images of people at the bottom by her feet. Kind of different or interesting. Okay. The Empress in Crowley, and then the Empress in Millennium. All right. The Emperor in Crowley. The Emperor in Millennium. So right off the top, though, of course, one of the big differences is that the paintings or artwork from a Millennium is a little bit more photorealistic, whereas the original paintings in the Crowley deck are more abstract, more of the art maybe of its era even, but they're not quite, you know, as photorealistic. So I like that in a way. It does make them vibrant. The Hierophant from Crowley. The Hierophant from Millennium. All right, I wonder if you'll catch this. The Lovers from Crowley. And the Lovers from Millennium. There are 2 children in the Crowley one sort of tagging along the royal robes, a little white child, a little black child. Those children are not on the Millennium deck, although the lion and the eagle are, as well as the snake or scarabee thing. So definitely some little artistic differences here and there. Here's the Chariot from Crowley. And of course, the Crowley deck has very nice colors and very color dynamics. And then the Millennium Chariot, which is equally nice. Okay, and then 8, which is Justice, here called Adjustment in the Crowley, tones of blue and darker. And then Adjustment in the Millennium, and a little bit more greenish tones than the blue, though there's some blue there everywhere. Very pretty again, both. Okay, the Hermit in Crowley, and of course there's what would appear to be Cerberus there. And here we are again with the Millennium. And I don't quite see the Cerberus figure. There's, oh yeah, it's sort of a shadow there on the right of the card. Okay, Crowley's Fortune. Very classic. And then the Millennium Fortune, which is very similar, just a little bit more of that 3D-ish photorealism once again. Now, Crowley list strength, Major Arcana 11, as lust. And of course, there is that lion, and there is the female, who in typical strength cards is either trying to hold the mouth closed or pry it open. And then, of course, the Millennium, and I love the look on the lion's face. But clearly they both mean the same thing, and they both have very similar, beautiful images. All right, moving on, we have the Hanged Man and the Millennium Hanged Man. All right, death in the Crowley, death in the Millennium. And I saw it immediately and I said, oh, Crowley's death appears to be a male figure, and the Millennium one, arguably, it's a female figure. It might even be a nod to Santa Muerte. We're not even sure. So I thought that was interesting to point out. Temperance is called art, of course, in the Crowley, and nice contrasting colors, and then also art in the Millennium. Pretty play of colors. The Devil in Crowley, and the Devil in the Millennium. And the key difference is that there's an actual goat in Crowley, but it's a human with artistic looking horns that could be a goat's horns, I guess. They're similar enough to the one in the Crowley. So once again, more or less a major difference. All right, the Tower from Crowley, complete with the eye in the sky, and likewise in the Millennium. The Star and the Star. This one's pretty, both of them. The Moon, Crowley's Moon. Millennium Moon. The Sun in Crowley. And the Sun in Millennium. I love the little fairy wings on the little nymph or cherubs or whatever they are. The Aeon, which of course is judgment. And then in the Millennium, the Aeon. I love it. More goddess-like. And then, of course, the Universe, the final major arcana. And a pretty faithful reproduction of that in the Millennium. All right, so I'm going to go a little faster through these because they're mostly the same. Crowley had mostly pip cards, as they call them, the kind that don't have the, more symbolic scenes or vignettes that people draw their inspiration from. So that's, of course, makes the Crowley deck and certain other decks a little bit less accessible or harder to learn for some people. But okay, Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups. Two of Cups. Two of Cups, like the porpoises. Three of Cups. Three of Cups. Four of Cups. Four of Cups. Five of Cups. Five of Cups. Six of Cups, Six of Cups. And I'm going to linger here for a moment because the detail of the water and the little flowery things over the cups is really nice, and it does add something to the sense of it just being a pip. Also, too, most of the cards will have one or more astrological symbols. This one has a Scorpio M at the bottom, and then it has a 0 with a dot in the center. And all the cards have some things like that. Like I said, various astrological symbols. So there's a lot of detail for people who have studied Thoth's deck as a Kabbalic form, Kabbalah. Okay, so here we have the Seven of Cups. And here we have the Millennium Seven of Cups. And of course, I think by now, if you've noticed or if you are aware, another key difference is that on most of the minor arcana, with the exception of the court cards, there's a usual word that describes the overall keyword of the card. And of course, this could be where some people may find differences between Crowley and the Millennium's interpretations, because they are a little bit different. They're not exactly like each other at all. So I think that's interesting. And there are no keywords on the Millennium, only on the Crowley. So for example, Eight of Cups, indolence, here just Eight of Cups. So let's keep going through here. Nine of Cups, Nine of Cups, Ten of Cups, Ten of Cups. The coloring in most cases is pretty much exactly the same or very close. Okay, so we have the Princess of Cups, and we have the Millennium Princess of Cups. The Prince of Cups from Crowley, and the Prince of Cups from Millennium. I love that bird flying there. Okay, Queen of Cups and Queen of Cups. Knight of Cups, Knight of Cups Millennium. I think it's interesting to note that Crowley, like a few other decks, kind of takes liberties with the court cards, and so eliminates the king in favor of the knight, and so on. And in this Millennium deck, some of that rationale is nearly the same. So that's kind of one of the things that makes it more similar, because Crowley's interpretation of the court cards is a little bit more elemental, esoteric. Okay, here we have the Ace of Discs and the Millennium Ace of Discs. Two of Discs, Millennium Two of Discs. And once again, you note symbologies there. Okay, Five of Discs, Five of Discs. Six of Discs, Crowley. Six of Discs. Whoops. I'm sorry. We're at the Four. Excuse me. Four of Pentacles. So that means that the previous ones were three. Did I have them mixed up? Nope. I'm just miscounting here. Sorry about that. Okay, Five of Discs, Crowley. Five of Discs or Pentacles, Millennium. Discs, of course, are the same as sacred circles, coins, sacred stones, and pentacles. Okay, here we have the Six of Discs. Over here, Millennium Six of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Eight of Discs or Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles. Colors are very similar. Very nice. Nine of Discs. Nine of Pentacles. Ten of Discs. Ten of Pentacles. Princess of Discs. Princess of Pentacles. Prince of Discs. Prince of Pentacles. Crowley's Queen of Discs. And the Millennium version, Queen of Pentacles. And then closing out the discs or pentacles, it's the Knight of Discs and Millennium's Knight of Pentacles. And now we're on the Wands, the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Wands in the Millennium of Burning Staff. Two of Wands, Millennium. Two of Wands. Whoops, this is the Millennium. That was the Crowley. Got to pay attention. Three of Discs or Wands, and that is the Crowley. Three of Wands, Millennium. Crowley. Four of Wands, Millennium. Four of Wands. Crowley, Five of Wands, Millennium, Five of Wands. Crowley, Six of Wands, Millennium, Six of Wands. Crowley, Seven of Wands. The Millennium version, Seven of Wands. The Eight of Wands from Crowley. And the Eight of Wands from the Millennium. Nine of Wands. Crowley. Nine of Wands. Millennium. 10 of Wands, Crowley. 10 of Wands, Millennium. And we have Crowley's Princess of Wands. And the Millennium Princess of Wands. And Crowley's Thoth Prince of Wands. And the Millennium Thoth Prince of Wands. Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. And I like the fact that both of these include the cat. In the weight, it's more like a little black cat. Over here, it's some sort of pard, some leopard. And it looks pretty leopard-like of a sword in the Crowley. So that's interesting. But we know what that means. Okay, the Knight of Wands in Crowley and the Millennium Knight of Wands. Okay, and wrapping it up, we're moving into the swords. Ace of Swords for Crowley. And the Millennium Ace of Swords. Two of Swords, Crowley. Two of Swords, Millennium. Three of Swords, Crowley. Three of Swords, Millennium. Four of Swords, Crowley. Four of Swords, Millennium. Five of Swords in the Crowley deck. And the Millennium, Five of Swords. Six of Swords, Crowley. Six of Swords in the Millennium. Seven of Swords in the Crowley deck. And the Millennium deck's Seven of Swords. Eight of Swords in Crowley. Eight of Swords in Millennium. Nine of Swords in Crowley. Nine of Swords in the Millennium. And this one is rather striking. Ten of Swords, the Crowley. Ten of Swords, Millennium. Princess of Swords. Millennium's Princess of Swords. Prince of Swords in Crowley. This is a fine one. The Prince of Swords in the Millennium deck. Queen of Swords, Crowley. Queen of Swords, Millennium. And the final card, the Knight of Swords, from the Crowley. And then the Knight of Swords from the Millennium. So let's take a test run then of our brand new Millenium Thoth Tarot. It's never been used before, so this is its maiden voyage on Thoughts from Thoth Thursday. The deck itself is a little bit slippy. Kind of slips, and of course it is stiff a little bit, so I am definitely breaking it in. Let's see how many of these we can do and loosen her up. Say concentrate. Oh, great Thoth. Give us wisdom today. Share your light. Bring hope and joy to all of us. One more, I think. One more riffle. All right. Our card is the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Now is the time to take action. Now is the time to put aside thoughts or ideas that may be more daydreams or fantasies. Now is the time to think of the practical things that need to be done. You must always prepare for the future. This card tells you, put thoughts into action, see the end you want, and bring it to be. So thank you for watching this very special episode of Thoughts from Thoth Thursday, where I showed the new Millenium Thoth Deck, and I used it for the very first time. Perhaps I will do that next week too. Take care, everybody, and see you. Bye-bye.